Trainer, we are live now.
Thank you, Chetan. Good evening to all the viewers. We invite all of you to today's webinar on reversible diabetes myths and facts. So today we have our two amazing speakers. So first speaker is Professor Shashank Joshi. He is the president of Indian Academy of Diabetes, past president of Endocrine Society of India, past president API Association of Physicians of India, and past president of RSSDI. Consultant endocrinologist at Leelavati and Bhatia Hospital and Joshi Clinic. He has more than 800 research publications to his credit. He is affiliated to several leading hospitals of the city, including Leelavati and Bhatia hospitals. He is actively involved with evidence-based work in endocrinology, including diabetes, obesity, thyroid, osteoporosis, and growth. He was awarded International Clinical of the Year 2012 by the American College of Endocrinology. He has been conferred in 2014 Padma Shri by Government of India. We have our another speaker, Dr. Maluk Mohammed. He is a co-founder and global vice president research Twin Health, San Francisco head Indian operations, Twin Digital Services India Private Limited, Chennai. Current research focus is on healthcare technology, distributed computing, mobile computing, wireless sensor networks, cluster computing, grid computing, etc. Published 178 research publications in various international journals and conference proceedings. Over to you, our speakers.
Thank you so much for your kind words of introduction. And today we are going to have a very interesting discussion that, today is the World Health Day and the WHO has designated 7th April as a World Health Day. And this year's theme is for equitable and fairer this thing, but for promoting good health. And in promoting good health, today we are having the second largest population of diabetes on planet Earth, which is India. And I'm going to talk on a very interesting subject. Can we reverse diabetes? Is it a myth or a reality? And I'm going to show you the twin way of reversing it because it's important. Are my slides visible? Dr. Maluk, are my slides visible?
Yes, doctor. Yes, doctor.
So I'm going to talk really this whole method of reversing diabetes. What is the science behind diabetes reversal? Is it a myth or reality? And can we use technology? Because the biggest challenge for reversal in diabetes today is lifestyle. And lifestyle is easy to disobey and difficult to follow restrictions and regulations. And therefore, Dr. Maluk, who is a close friend of mine and works very closely with us in a artificial intelligence company called Twin Health, aims to reverse chronic diseases. That's their mission, that's their ambition. So let us look at some science around it. We know that let food be thy medicine, medicine be thy food, is what is an oath which all of us as doctors took from Hippocrates. We all know that we are constantly evolving as human beings and our lifestyle changes and our nutrition is skewed in its outcome. So obviously, we have to look at diabetes from prevention to cure. What is the problem? What is the phenotype? Sarcopenia in Indians. Then there's a twin cycle hypothesis. And this twin cycle hypothesis led to the reversal of diabetes. And then I will talk a little bit upon twin reversal and diabetes. And later on, Dr. Maluk will give you a deep dive into the reversal methods and mechanisms and evidence base. And then maybe a simple take-home message. So that's the real blueprint of my talk. So obviously, let us look at some problems. In India, we have rapidly economized, developed, urbanized, our lifestyle and diet has changed. And compared to the Western population, though they are more obese, we are getting diabetes at a younger age and at a lower degree of obesity. And we have currently 82 million diabetics in this part of the region. And it's happening predominantly because we have a central adiposity. We have obesity at a lower threshold of BMI and we are thin fat Indians. If you look at any clinic coming to a general practitioner for any disease, at least 86% of them have truncal obesity, which means their waist circumference for a man is more than 90 centimeters and for a woman is more than 80 centimeters. And at least 73% of them, at least in the urban 10 states, which we did this twin survey way back in 2012, which we published from more than 15,000 population, clearly shows that twin epidemic of hypertension, diabetes is prevalent, and it is the abdominal obesity which generates that. So we are Asian Indians, we have thin fat, we have more fat, we have less muscle, we are sarcopenic, we have abdominal obesity. Is it genetic? Probably yes, it's polygenic. We don't have a single gen defect. Very rarely we get monogenic diabetes. Is it environmental? Absolutely yes. It's the environment which we live in which we have abused. So we are sedentary, we have become affluent, and that was the key words. So muscle is one of the main functions which we know for strength, for movement, for posture and balance. But muscle is also a metabolic reservoir of proteins with glutamine and glutamate levels. And skeletal muscle and its cross-organ talk with health and disease has been clearly linked. In India, we have sarcopenic obesity. So what happens is that with advancing age, there is a shift in body composition. With body fat, which is increasing, the muscle mass goes down. And therefore, there is simultaneously increase in fat mass and decrease in the skeletal muscle mass. And this nutritional blind spot is called as sarcopenia. Sarcos means muscle. Penia means less muscle with obesity. So for the same BMI, you can see three patients here. Somebody with lean mass, somebody with fat mass. The patient C is typically Caucasian, where the lean mass is more and fat mass is less. And patient A is typically Indian, which has a lot of fat and less lean mass. So we have more fat, less muscle mass, and mitochondrial defects in our mitochondria. And we love our carbs, love our fats, and we eat little less protein. But when we think of carbs, simple or complex, we only think of South of India. We feel all the diabetes is in South of India, but it's better research in South of India. And that's not totally true. When we did our STAR study, which we published in the British Medical Journal almost 6-7 years back, we found that across India, everybody eats carbs and carbs. They eat fats and fats, and we eat very little protein. And you can see here that Central India has the highest carbs on planet Earth as far as India is concerned. And whether you take diabetes or non-diabetic, that's very common. So Roy Taylor from UK came out with a simple hypothesis. We eat too much, we have positive calorie balance, that will go and increase the liver fat with pre-existing muscle insulin resistance. It will activate the twin liver cycle, and then typically you will get a liver diarrhea of VLDL and triglyceride. Islet triglycerides will go up, fatty pancreas will happen, and a twin cycle hypothesis will be activated. And clearly we need to eat less. The diabetic specific nutritional study group of ESD said it, eat less. Canadians said eat less. ADA said eat less. And the first people to reverse diabetes were surgeons actually. And Poris et al. Almost 30 years back reversed diabetes by doing a barbaric surgery called biliary pancreatic diversion. And for 90% of them were reversed for 10 years. And the whole idea was that there was a drastic, acute, profound loss and decrease in caloric intake. And that, reversed the traffic from fat source and fat metabolites. And this hypocaloric state, which came from the ectopic sites, basically caused this typical diabetic reversion. Professor Roy Taylor from UK showed that severe caloric restriction can have the same effect like bariatric surgery, where the liver fat is regulated better, insulin sensitivity will come down, sugars will come down as early as 8 weeks, and the pancreas is liver and fat and the pancreatic cells will release. You can see typically in type 2 diabetes, the first phase of insulin response is blunted, as seen in the baseline here. And you can see after doing this reversal diet of Professor Taylor, you can see that the first phase of insulin is restored here. So typically what we are doing for reversing diabetes is we create a caloric deficit, we create glucose load coming down, and we improve the insulin action on the liver. And typically they published this in the direct trial, which was in a primary care setup in people between 20 and 65 with diabetes not more than 6 years, BMI between 27 and 45, not receiving insulin. And clearly we saw that the diabetes and blood pressure drugs went away with a high caloric diet, stepped food reintroduction, and long-term weight maintenance. So at least a good percentage of people were able to reverse diabetes. Almost half the people in 12 months in this remission program were able to remit diabetes. And all they did is meal replacement with a low calorie diet, negative calorie balance, depletion of liver and pancreatic fat, and reversal of diabetes. Who responded better? Younger people responded better. People with short duration responded better. So is the answer, evidence-based answer, that can we reverse diabetes? The answer is clear, yes. Do we have data? Yes. We had old data also. This was a study published by Professor Hallberg, which showed if you had a large breakfast and no dinner, you could lose weight. If you had only dinner and no breakfast, you could actually gain weight and you could live longer. So we are born at a time where we have plenty of food, but our body engines are still running in a famine mode. And therefore, if you really want to tweak diabetes, we need to be healthy, active, eat healthy, stem the epidemic, build strong muscles, mitochondria, eat less, eat on time, eat in the morning, eat right, walk more, sleep well, sleep on time, and smile. So obviously, this is something which we need to do very, very aggressively. And when we are doing this, when we are actually doing this whole philosophy of reversal, what we are actually doing is that we are trying to aim at using artificial intelligence and technology, the twin way to reverse diabetes. So I'm now going to share some slides on the reversal program which the Twin Health did, because you see, reversing diabetes is next to impossible. And following that typical diet which uh, you know uh, Dr. Taylor followed is also very, very difficult. So obviously we need to ensure that we get into a situation where we are able to get a better option and a better trail. So the first thing which I want to show you is what is Twin doing unique, and Dr. Maluk is going to illustrate that a little better when he talks about his findings about the Twin reversal program which they have dedicated. They are using technology to adhere to lifestyle, whether it is diet, exercise, sleep, various things. They are not having any drug. Without a drug, by only adhering to a lifestyle with a coach, doctor, and technology, with different apps, can we reverse diabetes. So what they are trying to do is reverse chronic diseases. So they are basically trying to make the metabolism for each individual designed for that individual, because you know that each individual is different. So this whole body twin technology is a invention which helps doctors to reverse diabetes and chronic diseases. And it self-learns each human being's metabolism, looks at cause-effect relationships, and predicts outcomes. So it picks up signals of health, picks up signals of mood and happiness and sleep and wellness, and picks up signals of doctors of treatment factors like tablets, insulin, and so on and so forth. Then makes precise changes on what to eat, how to eat, when to eat, how slowly to eat, when to sleep, how to sleep, how much to exercise. That's precision nutrition, precision sleep medicine. Then precision support through the help of a coach, and then precision insights through help of a doctor, and precision treatments can be done. Are there similar things done? Livongo, Virta, such similar virtual technology platforms in the US, but they were not as successful as the Twin program. Twin Sec program is now doing an RCT, and you can see various parameters get reversed, whether it's diabetes, hypertension, obesity, dyslipidemia, kidney function, fatty liver, beta and getting beta cells, insulin resistance, inflammation, all can be reversed. How do they do that? Now we know that we can map the glucose. So we can actually measure it by doing the CGM or the ambulatory glucose monitoring. So we can actually predict that, and then we can mimic how a particular human being will behave. So using the CGM technology, we can actually create a digital twin and actually pattern recognize for each individual the blood pressure, the blood glucose. We can even predict blood pressure in a very accurate way, and the food we eat. For example, if I eat idli, okay, Prerna eats idli, Dr. Maluk eats idli, the glycemic response may be different. And some of it may be red, some of it may be yellow. So in me, the glucose may be red. In Maluk, it may be green. So how do we predict it? We can actually use technology to predict it in a much, much better way and make it green and green. That is what technology does to help us. And Dr. Maluk will tell us what food, what meal. So if in the idli, if I have more sambar, then the likelihood of glycemic response is going to be better because there is more protein to it. So what combination? So the app and the coach will tell you what to do. It will hand hold you. Basically, it is a hand holding mechanism designed for that human being. Because every human being eats different food. Somebody will eat idli, somebody will have paratha, somebody will have poha, somebody will have, say, bisi beli bhat. So, different people, somebody will have fish. Based on the food item they consume, we can predict the taste, the type of food, the type of combination, and predict a glucose response. And using all this technology, we can reverse diabetes. So they have data to demonstrate that using this machine learning, as they call it, we pick up various parameters. There is CGM, blood pressure, ketone monitor, body weight, Fitbit. All the blood tests are done in detail. And then the various nutritional micronutrients, macronutrients, gut microbiome are all analyzed. And various medicines the patient is taking from the doctor, because doctor is a very integral part of this program. So we can design a precise nutrition, precise sleep, precision activity, precision medicine, and precision insights from the coach. And then we can make an attempt towards reversal. So obviously then it becomes easier with time, because then we recognize it better. And obviously we can get tangible health outcomes. We can have, but it responds best if you have young diabetics less than 10 years of age, A1C is reasonable, and duration of diabetes is lesser. There's very, very good data across India now on all parameters, presented across the world now on each parameter, showing all these data. And I'm sure Dr. Maluk will show you this. And now last year we presented at the European Congress, this year we're presenting at the ADA, and there's a multi-center trial undergoing in India. Some preliminary results are out for diabetes results, because remember, the direct trial was a cluster randomized trial, while the trial which is Twin is undertaking, and I'm a part of the trial, is a world's first randomized control trial for diabetes reversal, happening in India and simultaneously now starting off in the United States also. So obviously, reversal is possible using CGM, blood pressure monitor, ketone monitor, scale, Fitbit, and watch, and an app. Pick up those readings, look at the blood work, look at the blogs, look at the mood, energy, medications, use a coach and a doctor, and make it happen. So precisely you can map now for a particular person using machine learning and computer and make the change. And that's something which it does. And that's something which does very, very efficiently. And that's why we can actually reverse diabetes. We are living in best of times, but in worst of times. And as I told you that when we are living in best of times, but not, we can actually make this whole process of reversal possible and acceptable. Now we'll hear from Dr. Maluk Mohammed. He's an IIT graduate. He's a PhD. He's a scientist par excellence. He has actually designed artificial intelligence and technology as an enabler to help diabetics, doctors, and coaches, so that our lives of diabetics, people living with diabetics, gets better. Dr. Maluk Mohammed, please.
Thanks, Dr. Joshi, for an amazing presentation. You as usual, you really rocked. And very good evening to all. And thanks for the opportunity to talk about the possibility of reversal. Dr. Joshi was talking about reversal is the truth. It's been tested. It's been proven by a lot of scientists since 2012, when Dr. Roy Taylor started to talk about low calorie diet, and a lot of other researchers have been talking about it. Let me talk about the technology behind it. How did we do it, right? And as Dr. Joshi said, it is precisely diabetes, as all eminent doctors here, you precisely know that diabetes by itself is not a disease, it's a condition. And the root cause of the actual problem is the damage to metabolism. But why is it that it is not that doctors are not aware of it? Doctors are fully aware of it. But why is it that they were not able to solve the problem? And why is it that they were treating the symptom? That is the high sugars in the blood. It is because metabolism is something very, very complex and keeps changing consistently, continuously. And no two human has the same metabolism. Forget about no two human having the same metabolism. We ourselves don't have the same metabolism. It keeps changing. And we did not have a mechanism to precisely measure. And we did not have a mechanism to measure. We will not be able to solve it. So that's the reason why, but high sugars are bad. Doctors will solve it. And doctors were solving and trying to control it. And that is the reason why this disease was seen as a lifelong progressive disease with lifelong suffering of symptom. And no one knows when the complication is going to hit. And we all know that you name any disease for that matter, Alzheimer's, cardiac, and all these are attributed to diabetes. Diabetes starts and everything percolates. And the statistical data says that every minute in India alone, 6 people die out of diabetes. Huge. And when complications are put together, it is many, many, many people who die out of diabetes and its complications. And ultimately, the root cause of the problem is damage to metabolism. When we at Twin wanted to start this company, I just would love to quickly talk about, I'll not take much time to start about what is the legacy behind us. What is that we had done earlier? Who are we? What competence that do we have to come talk such a big revolutionizing technology? The other co-founder of the company, Dr. Jahangir Mohammed, is an Indian, South Indian, settled in US long back, was working in the prestigious AT&T Bells lab, where Bells were a single unit earlier, those days. And when mobile came into existence, he quit the job and he had the idea of how to offer Wi-Fi through mobile phones. What we are enjoying today is his invention. He started his company, made money. Then he revolutionized the world of IoT, Internet of Things. 94% of the IoT platform across the globe, which is existence today, is from his earlier company called Jasper. You name any automobile across the globe, it is powered from his earlier company called Jasper. And Elon Musk of Tesla has worked with Jahangir for more than 10 years in building the driverless car. Elon Musk had a vision. He wanted his car to perform better as it ages. We all know something, performance degrade as it ages, but he wants his car to perform better as it ages and long for last. And they built an autonomous car. What did they do? They put sensor in the car and built a digital version of it. A digital twin of the car was built, and they started to monitor the digital twin completely to precisely understand what is happening and made the autonomous car possible. And after Jasper was acquired by the network giant Cisco for $1.48 billion, one of the largest acquisitions in the world. And when we came together, because based on in a common platform where we met together, and I was talking about the precision treatment based on my PhD work and other research, and he wanted to do something on healthcare, we thought we need to dig deeper to understand why and how, what to do. And we spoke to hundreds of doctors across the globe, and we found out that diabetes is the disease which has been causing a whack. And we picked up diabetes, and we wanted to understand where does the world exist with reference to the solution to solving the problem. We saw a lot of people talking about reversal of diabetes, and one commercial entity which was available was in US called Verta, where they were offering reversal of diabetes literally by following ketogenic diet. We all are very, very familiar and with a lot of the dietary programs around us, and it can normalize the sugars. And there were a lot of other question marks related to what happens with other organs. Does it impact other elements? Does it elevate cholesterol? Does it lead to end organ damages? All those apprehensions were there. And there are no scientific outcomes about what will be the outcome. So we did not want to really take, because it's healthcare. We need to be super cautious. Safety of our patients is utmost important. And it's a treatment. And we felt that we need to come out with the technology to enable our doctors to become super doctors, to become super people. And what can we do? That is where we took the genesis of what we had done, what Jahangir has done in Tesla. And we thought, let's build a digital twin of human. How do we do it? We picked up basic sensors like, as Dr. Joshi was mentioning, CGM, a sensor watch, a body composition monitor, and these three are mandatory sensors for all the patients. In addition, we go a Ketomojo meter to measure the ketones, and that is used only for the first 10 days, exclusively for insulin-dependent patients, to rule out whether they had moved to type 1 like, because they might have damaged their metabolism so badly, and their beta cells might have completely given up, where we cannot do anything. Because we solve only type 2 diabetes. We are able to reverse only type 2 diabetes. So only to rule out that, we use Ketometer, where the platform is able to detect. And the fifth one was the BP apparatus, which was given, the automated BP machine was given for patients who had hypertension problem. So with these set of sensors, we built a digital twin of every human. 3,000 plus data points were collected from every day from the individual. In addition, a comprehensive blood test was done 4 times a year. In addition, inputs from the individual was collected, like the preference of the individual, the history behind the health conditions of the individual. In addition, the other logging, like what they ate and what are their activities pattern, all these were collected, and the digital twin of the individual was built. And just visualize here, the digital twin which was there in the platform consistently, continuously was taking data from the sensors, from the sensor watch every 5 minutes once. So the change that is happening in the human was captured or picturized in digital twin, where we went and ran a machine learning algorithm continuously, consistently, and it does every day a computation of 1.4 into 10 to the power of 104 computations, huge, correlating across all these data points to precisely measure the damage metabolism. First of its kind in the world, a patent pending whole body digital twin technology was built to precisely measure the damaged metabolism, which was the root cause of the problem. Now, having measured the metabolism, how to solve it? And because so far doctors was not able to solve, because they were not knowing how to measure it. Now we had come out with a solution to precisely measure it. And we had made it so simple. As I walk through, I'll be able to make you understand how simple, friction-free we had made it happen. And what are the technology that we had created to make it as simple as possible. So now the digital, with us, we are able to build the digital twin, and the digital, every time the digital twin started to become mature and mature and mature. And the digital twin which was built here, what happens is, in the initial stage, what we expect is the patient, as we expect them to do only 3 things. methodically follow the recommendation of digital, because the digital twin is nothing other than the digital version of the human. And we all know, doctors are completely familiar, every signal in the body in some form or the other is interconnected with other signals. So through machine learning, what we require is only 2 or 3 critical signals are required to correlate, because once you learn the pattern, once the digital twin through machine learning learns the pattern, after that culling out information becomes very, very easier. And that's what we were able to do it. And the digital twin was precisely able to build it, and as a solution offered 4 inputs to the human body: precision medicine, precision nutrition, precision activities, and precision sleep, with which we were able to solve the problem. The minute when we talk about the precision medicine, what we started to do is we started to understand the metabolic condition of the body, and the platform started to identify how to taper down the medicine to so that it could be stopped. And when you talk about precision nutrition, is it any supplement that the company is trying to offer? Is it yet another dietary program? Of course, no. Then what is it all about? What is precision nutrition all about? Precision nutrition is not all about the food that we all eat has 87 parameters in it. Has 87 parameters in it, which is characterized as macro, micro, and biota. And macronutrients, namely the carbohydrates, fat, and protein, are just a source of fuel to the body. The actual energizing factor that is responsible for the growth of the organs, growth of the immune system, growth of the cellular system, growth of the bones, are actually attributed to the micronutrients, which doctors are completely familiar with it. Though the micronutrients are micro in nature, deficient is also bad, excess is also bad. So where does the technology comes in here? Yes, we agree that the food that we all have 87 parameters, and we could, where is the technology coming in here? Right? Say, to quote a small example, assume that we all know that most of the damaged metabolic body will be deficient in potassium. And there are 2 kinds of micronutrients: water soluble, fat soluble, and each having different half-life. In case of a water soluble, it has to be replenished in the body daily. In case of a fat soluble, it is different. Some in 3 days, some in a week's time, some 15 days, some 3 months, some 6 months. Right? So take an example of someone deficient in potassium. Potassium is available in tomatoes. So assume that we all take a piece of tomato, and assume that the tomato offers 300 milligrams of potassium. And can anyone tell here what is the bioavailability of potassium in our body? The truth is, no one can tell. Because the bioavailability of just not potassium, any micronutrients or nutrients depends on the other micronutrients which is present in the body at that point of time, which is nothing but the metabolism. And the digital twin, which was able to precisely measure the damaged metabolism, offers a mapped solution of offering the right meal plan, balancing the macro, micro, biota, by which we are able to heal the damaged metabolism. We are not here to control the sugar, normalize the sugar, or manage the diabetes. We are here to heal the root cause of the problem, namely damaged metabolism, which is precisely through precision nutrition, especially by the 47 micronutrients, which helps in assisting ensuring that we start to solve the glucotoxicity and lipotoxicity issue, by which we are able to solve fatty liver, fatty pancreas, and fatty muscles and the inflammation, by which we are able to offer a solution. The beauty of all these things is when the member gets into the platform, the digital twin precisely identifies the list of food items which are intolerant to the body and classifies all those food items as red items. And those are not included in the meal plan that is offered by the platform. But the most interesting and most powerful of what is unique in this particular thing is, as the member travels through the journey of healing, one after the other, red foods start to become orange and green later. After 7+ months, the member can go back to eat most of their food in their old normal style, though not 100% as the old way. So we are very, very proud to say that this was made possible because the company has built a high definition database for more than 1 million food items, capturing more than all the 87 parameters that are available in the food that comes from that are available. And here, the platform doesn't understand idli, dosa, or puri, or channa. It understands at the granular level, understanding the micronutrient, the nutrient nano level detailing, from where the computation takes place. But for technology, this cannot be done. And precisely, similarly, as you all know, gut bacteria are super important. So by precisely balancing the macro, micro, and biota, we are able to ensure that we solve the problem. This is not a dietary program. This is a healing program. And that is the reason why I said healing. In addition to that, the platform also offers, as the patient moves through the journey, precision activities in order to improve the insulin resistance. Similarly, we had found out that sleep plays an important role. Patients who are disturbed with their sleep, who has a bad practice of sleep, are also precisely offered the right way to sleep in order to ensure we go heal the damaged metabolism, which is the biggest solution we are able to offer. So as Dr. Joshi said, the platform, the digital twin, self-learns individual state of metabolism, deciphers cause and effects, predict outcomes, offers precision treatment to reverse chronic condition. It is not just that lifelong the member has to undergo a regimented dietary program. It is not that it starts with a kind of a disciplined approach, and as the digital twin matures enough, as the digital twin becomes mature and mature and mature, the member has to just, most of the sensors starts to go off. The CGM patch after 35 days is removed. The platform has a capability to start to predict the blood sugars of the individual. As Dr. Joshi showed in the other presentation, the platform has a capability to predict blood glucose, predict blood pressure, the average of the blood pressure. It is just not an instance. It offers continuous 7 days average of a human. In addition, the platform has a capability to track the functionality of the kidney, the filtration of the kidney, EGFR of the kidney. It is able to track the cholesterol level of the human. So to such kind of precise correlation, it is able to offer. So as the member travels through the journey of healing, he has to literally wear the sensor watch and use the body composition monitor. The CGM patch goes off. And once he reverses, it starts to predict. And he has to log the food 100% timely, accurately, and completely. Later, 70%, and later it may not even log the food. But just the activity from the data and the other data which comes from the sensor watch and the body composition monitor, the platform starts to precisely understand and starts to monitor the capability of the individual human. And this is what Dr. Joshi was showing, and we call it as it's yet another patent pending solution from our company. And if the BP at an accuracy of all these are between accuracy of north of 93%, we are able to offer the solution. And as I said, when the member joins, most of the food are intolerant. As he travels through the journey of healing, one after the other, food starts to become green. He goes back. And the platform has a capability to precisely predict his preference, understanding his preference, understanding his travel pattern, what does it offer? And he is able to offer. And the treatment focuses just not making the individual healthy. We work on making the individual happy and healthy. It is a coexistence of happiness and health, which is what is happening. And we do run an RCT, as Dr. Joshi was mentioning, and look at the outcome. Amazing outcome. See a reduction of 3.27% in A1C in 120 days. And in the usual care, the HbA1c is increased. And we are seeing 100% diabetes reverse in RCT. And we are able to reverse 70 out of the diabetic in the RCT patients, 54% of them had hypertension. We were able to reverse 79% of it. 67% we were able to reverse cholesterol, dyslipidemia conditions. Obesity 50%. Cardiac, the RHR was improved by 60%. 80% improved with the kidney functionality. Liver functionality was improved by 64%. 80% reverse beta cells. 61% reverse IR. And 83% inflammation reversal happened. Seeing amazing outcomes. And this is on the commercial vertical, because so far we had registered around 5,000 odd patients so far, and out of which currently around 2,000 odd patients are live on the, nearly 3,000 patients are live on the platform. And this is the commercial outcomes which we are seeing. And that was RCT outcomes. And here we are seeing north of 75% of the results. And we have around nearly 20 publications to our credit. And recently, one of our patients got accepted in ADA conference, and which will be getting published in the Journal of Diabetes of ADA. And we have been seeing amazing results. And as I rightly said, it is a treatment offered only through doctors. Twin is a platform which is a plug-in to the doctors, which is an enabler to the doctor to offer twin physician treatment to ensure that the members reverse their chronic conditions and become happy and healthy. And we started our operations in the year 2018, September 2018. We had completed Series A and Series B funding. We are funded by the world's #1 investor, Sequoia, the company which was invested in companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and they are our investors. Now we are currently in the stage of going for Series C funding. Recently, we had launched in US and we are doing amazingly great, and we'll be going across very aggressively. And we have around 475 employees working on this, and the entire solution is through the digital twin. Digital twin is a mantra which makes the doctors super powerful, super brained, and with the support of the coach and the digital twin. And this is a leadership team headed by Dr. Jahangir, Terry, and myself are the founders of the company. Eric and Garik are the CFOs, and Dr. Joshi and the other team. This is the leadership team of our company. And this is what we offer as a physician treatment to precisely reverse chronic condition, and mostly the diabetes. And let me pause here, and we would love to take any questions if they are there.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Raju would be taking the questions. And
Yeah. Thanks for your patient listening. We have over 1,000 plus doctors who have joined across India. So we will take some questions right now. The first question is from Dr. Satyanarayan Mantri. The question is the reversal irreversible? And how long the reversal maintains?
Dr. Joshi would love to answer. Okay, I'll answer. So as of now, we are seeing patients who are 2.5 years with us, who had got, say, the way it works is in less than 2 weeks, we are able to stop all insulin. For more than 70% of our patients, we are able to stop all diabetic medicine in a span of less than 25 days of time. For another 20% of our patients, we are able to stop all diabetic medicine in a span of 60 to 75 days of time. And in a quarter, we are able to achieve HbA1c less than 6.5 for more than 90% of our patients, right? And the treatment is, in the first quarter, we normalize the sugars. The second quarter, we optimize cholesterol, BP, and obesity, the BMI. The third quarter, optimization of the organ health takes place. In the fourth quarter, the regeneration of the beta cells happens, and it's a 1-year treatment. Healing, sustenance, normalizing, healing, and sustenance is the phase of the treatment. And to ask, the doctor asked about, is it irreversible? As of now, I will not say it is irreversible. We need to wait for a longer period of time to really understand whether we move to remission. As of now, it is reversal. And if they follow methodically the protocol, what we had been telling, after 1 year, should they continue? The way that we had designed the platform is, we are offering the right value for the members to enjoy, because the platform also has a capability to monitor for 124 diseases after the reversal. So they enjoy, and at the maintenance cost, they continue. And the relationship between the doctor and the patient is very, very loyal, and it continues for life, is what we are aspiring to do. And as of now, if they continue with discipline, they could be there, go for cure after 5 years. We are confident about it. And is it irreversible? Will it go back? If they go back again to a damaged condition, they'll go back. That's the real thoughts.
Yeah. Second question is from Dr. Gajanan Keshavarao. Does raw food help in reversing diabetes?
Say, based on our exposure and experience, what we say is, we will not tell this food is bad, this food is good. It is all completely platform driven. The platform precisely understands the body's condition and identifies the list of food items which are intolerant and offers a solution. And off the hand, we will not be able to tell whether chapati is bad, this is bad, or that is bad. Completely, because the platform cohorts the individual, understand to which cluster the member fall in, and the right solution for the metabolic condition is offered as a solution.
Yeah. The next question is from Dr. P.K. Sardar. What type of medicines hinder reversal of diabetes?
What type of medicine?
Hinder reversal of diabetes.
Say for example, we discourage to use sulfonylurea because we all know sulfonylurea squeezes the pancreas, right, to secrete more insulin. We are in a process because we all know type 2 diabetes is because of excess insulin in the body. We want to regulate, we want to heal the system. So we discourage when the member gets into the platform. We mostly the platform mostly tries to recommend the biguanidine, the metformin, and the DPP-4 as a solution, because this too we see as a safe drug, as a transition medicine. And from there, depending on the progress of the individual, these medicines are tapered and stopped. We try to discourage SGLT2 because it sucks the nutrition completely and it pushes through the urine. And we discourage other kind of medicines. As of now, depending on the individual's condition, the platform recommendation is the metformin and the DPP-4. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a clinical question from Dr. Lokesh Kumar Bhama. Is diabetes reversal possible for a 45-year-old patient with uncontrolled type 2 diabetes with HbA1c of 10, of 20 years duration, on multiple drugs, and he walks 3 kilometers per day?
Yeah. So we had seen patients in the age group of 17 to 78. Though we enroll 70 to 70, our investors, Sequoia investor, the man who sits at the board, he looking at the product he wanted to enroll his mom, and she was 78 years old, and she has got reversed. And so we had seen up to 35 years of diabetes, and they had reversed, because the data and the solution is for the individual. It is not at a larger population which the machine learning is trying to understand and trying to offer a solution. It is based on individualized condition for which the solution is offered. So it works for mostly all members.
Yeah. Now we have a question from Dr. T.K. Das. What do you think is the criteria to permanently discontinue anti-diabetic treatment?
So, so the best lifestyle, the balance. So we also, based on our exposure and experience, we strongly believe that unmonitored dieting is evil for a damaged metabolic body. As I quoted an example, let me also again quote an example. Now, during this pandemic situation, government says, improve your immune system, take zinc supplements. And we all know excess zinc lead to oxidative stress. And the calamity due to oxidative stress is even worse than a COVID. COVID, you don't know whether it comes to or not. But if you if you get into oxidative stress by taking more of zinc, it is even harmful. So, only thing is, once the metabolism has got damaged, unmonitored diet is not advisable. And it should be balanced. And that's what we through technology. It is just not the kind of the old school of thought of balancing across the macronutrients, because we don't see macro as a solution. So we all know when you normalize the source, when you cut the source of sugars to the body, automatically sugars gets normalized. There is no rocket science or magic in it, right? But sustenance of a diet is a very, very challenging situation. And that is where healing is a solution. And that's what we do. So best good lifestyle with balance between the food, activities, and a good sleep can make a man happy and healthy.
We have a question from Dr. S. Bhuvaneshwari Subramaniam. What is your opinion on keto diet in reversal of diabetes?
Say honestly speaking, that's what I told just before. I don't want to be commenting on something else. But based on our exposure and research, we strongly believe unmonitored dieting is evil for a damaged metabolic body. And any dietary program, that's what I told. When you cut the source of sugars to the body, automatically the sugars gets normalized. There is no rocket science or magic in it. But it doesn't help. Sustenance is a question mark. Can the individual sustain? In our treatment, there is no cheat day, because we encourage the member to permit to heal the metabolism completely and go back to normalcy. And that's very, very important. In a typical dietary program, sugars can get normalized, and the other end things are a question mark. Even Berta has not proved it. Yeah.
Yeah. The next question is from Dr. Priyam Bhushan. Which patients will it not help at all, this program, and which patients it will be less likely to work in? And also, will there be any racial gender differences in the results from the platform?
So we do have a inclusion exclusion criteria. Say, for example, 17 to 70 is the age group who can get recruited. Similarly, there is we look for C-peptide. If the C-peptide is less than 0.3, we cannot offer them this particular treatment. And we look at the EGFR. If the EGFR is less than 45, we will not enroll the patient. We look at the other parameters like the liver functionality and the other functionality. And if it is more than 3x times the normal range, the patients will not be treated. And if the member fall under the inclusion criteria, and patients who had been diabetic for a long, who had really damaged it very badly, it takes a longer time. So as I told, we cluster the individual. The platform clusters automatically based on the vitals, and it identifies the conditions, whether he will reverse quickly. And because the platform also has the capability to tell in how many days reversal is possible for the individual. In the reversal, in the sense, in reverse, because reversal by itself is a 1-year program. Though the HbA1c is less than 6.5 in 90 days and no diabetic medicine, it is not that they are reversed. They had normalized their sugars. That's it. Because if they need to sustain, they need to complete the 1 year of a journey. So with these inclusion exclusion criteria, we are able to precisely tell, and it's completely platform driven.
Yeah. Now we have two questions from Dr. Abhay Naik to Dr. Joshi. Is it safe to take COVID vaccine in diabetic nephropathy? And what is the best DPP-4 inhibitor for diabetes control?
Dr. Joshi? We'll reserve, he will come back.
Yeah, okay. Now we have a question from Dr. Pradeep S. Should every type 2 diabetes patient be offered insulin, as it will protect the already exhausted beta cells, wherein giving secretagogues will be like flogging a tired horse who will die sooner than expected? So what's your take on it?
See, based on my data experience, because that's what I can talk about, when there is a little reserve of beta cells, which we see through, we use indicators like HOMA2B, HOMA2IR, because we had partnered with the Oxford University and we had got the software, and we are able to offer. If some reserve of HOMA2B is there, we would advise not to put in insulin, because excess of insulin deteriorates and it leads to, because we all know type 2 diabetic is someone who has more insulin in the body. So we would advise not to give insulin. Dr. Joshi has come and he will be the right man to answer on this. Yes, doctor.
Sorry, what is the question?
Go ahead, Raju.
Yeah. Should every type 2 diabetes patient be offered insulin, as it will protect the already exhausted beta cells, wherein by giving secretagogues, will it be like flogging a tired horse who will die sooner than expected? What's your take on this?
Remember, in type 2 diabetes, there is too much of insulin, which is not efficient. So if you do a C-peptide, and if the C-peptide level is low, then they need insulin. We are celebrating 100 years of insulin. So who needs insulin? Those who don't have C-peptide, like type 1 diabetes, like people with secondary diabetes where there is no pancreas on board. They are the ones who need insulin. Insulin resistance is the DNA of chronic metabolic syndrome, cardiometabolic diabetes. At the molecular level, insulin is not efficient. So in them, giving beta cell rest early in the disease was tried by Japanese and Chinese scientists, but it didn't really cut the ice, because they had settled glucotoxicity and they achieved remission for some time. These were studies done some 20-30 years back. Currently, we know that lifestyle can do it. So rather than using surgery or insulin to reverse type 2 diabetes, it is easier to integrate lifestyle into our day-to-day arm and try to reverse diabetes with modern age drugs like, say, metformin, gliptin, glitazones. There are so many drugs. See, type 2 diabetes is all about lifestyle. And if we are able to do lifestyle in the first decade of a diabetic's life, we create metabolic memory. So it is hit hard, hit early, and if possible, resurrect the beta cell, make it more efficient to make better insulin. And that is the need of the hour. And that is why we can actually do that. Using a secretagogue gives you glucose lowering very fast. Using insulin will also lower glucose very fast. But insulin usually is reserved when the beta cells are depleted, when they don't make. So if you do a carb stimulated or a sustanon stimulated or glucagon stimulated C-peptide, and your body doesn't have any C-peptide, then I'm not going to, that's a type 1 diabetic. That person needs insulin for life. or that's a LADA, type 1.5 diabetes. In those situations, we have to give insulin. But 95% of our diabetes, garden variety diabetes, is lifestyle diabetes. And that diabetes is insulin resistance. And that diabetes, I don't think there's a role for insulin.
Yeah. There's a question from Dr. Abhay Naik. Is it safe to take COVID vaccine in diabetic nephropathy? And also, what's your opinion about the best DPP4 inhibitor for diabetes control?
So I think, it is safe to take a diabetic COVID vaccines, period. If you're eligible and if you're in a comorbid condition, you should take it. That's my first question. You have to be eligible and there should not be any contraindication. So ask your local provider, he'll answer that question. There are all gliptins, efficacy-wise, are similar. But in terms of evidence-based, probably sitagliptin has the largest evidence base, followed by many other gliptins like allogliptin. Many of them have cardiovascular outcome trials, linagliptin. You have so many of them. So the choice is totally yours. The gliptin is a no hypoglycemia and no weight loss. So that's something which is there. And gliptin metformin combination results are pretty robust. So more or less, you need to understand where the evidence base is built upon.
Yeah. We have a question from Dr. Guriyash Kapoor. Most of the time we see metformin 500 milligram alone tackles HbA1c 5.5 to 6 range. So is that what is a novel cure for 60 plus patients?
No. I think metformin is a good drug, but lifestyle is stronger than metformin. So when the diabetes prevention program was done in the US, supported by the US government called NIH, the very clear answer was that 1/3 cases metformin works, 2/3 cases lifestyle works. So lifestyle is doubly more powerful, lifestyle adherence, than metformin alone. But metformin will also work. In the Indian diabetes prevention program, which Dr. Ramachandran did from Chennai, 250 milligram 3 times a day also worked.
There's a question by Dr. G. Sampath. Any special measures that you will suggest to decrease the incidence of newly diagnosed type 2 diabetes mellitus in Indians?
Can you repeat the question again?
Any special measures that you will suggest to decrease the incidence of newly diagnosed type 2 diabetes in Indians?
Lifestyle: eat less, walk more, sleep well. Okay, don't get burnt out. Okay, simple things. Very difficult to follow.
Yeah. We have a question by Dr. Vani Agarwal.
Then
What should be the approach?
You have to join twin and they will reverse all chronic diseases for you. So Dr. Maluk is the lifestyle guru, you can call him. Modern age lifestyle guru. He's like an artificial intelligence on his hat. So they are like the robots, the modern robots with a human touch.
People like you support us, doctor. Make it powerful.
Yes. So they are the technology enablers. So sometimes that can help. But in prevention, of course, it's a large subject, but it's lifestyle. Let me be very honest, eat less, walk more.
There's a question by Dr. Nachiket. How and where are the sensors fixed on the body for CGM? And just can you explain more about the sensors?
It can be fixed up right here.
Dr. Maluk?
Good. A CGM on the upper arm, sensor watch, and the body composition monitor is a kind of a weighing scale, and the automated blood pressure cuff, and the ketometer is like a glucometer, which is given for the insulin implementation.
We have a question from Dr. Kenneth. Sir, what is the role of intermittent fasting in reversing insulin resistance and pre-diabetes?
So time-restricted feeding is a technique, but it is not easy to follow. It's not completely evidence-based and may not necessarily work in all the patients. We have so many diets, you can name, I can have, each person, like we can have Raju diet, Ree diet, Shashank diet, Joshi diet, Mohammed diet, Maluk diet. Everybody can have their own diet. So time-restricted feeding is a research mechanism, but is not fully evidence-based. It is popular in lay literature, but I don't think it has robust science to back it up.
There's a question by Dr. Shankar. What do you think is the life expectancy of type 1 diabetics in India? Second, extent of control of type 1 diabetes with insulin pump therapy.
Type 1 diabetics have excellent lifestyle as long as they take insulin and maintain their A1C and don't get complications. While type 2 diabetics have a shorter lifespan because they die because of a cardiometabolic syndrome and the macrovascular complications. But type 1 diabetes can live as long as you can think of. But in India, what happens is availability of insulin, lack of poor control, that shortens the lifespan. Insulin pumps are available there, but that's not the only answer. The educated type 1 diabetics with a good basal bolus therapy, who knows carb counting, can do very well and maintain a better A1C than a pump. If you can afford a pump, that's great. And also is useful only for adults. adolescents and children find difficult to handle pumps. And pumps is not a solution for diabetes. Pumps is just an aid to handle it better. With a sensor and pump, it's like an artificial pancreas, but it's still not a perfect fit.
This is for Dr. Maluk, this question. What is your experience for pre-diabetic patients? Does the platform also help for some patients with pre-diabetes?
Yeah, we did have a lot of pre-diabetic patients, and it did work. It was it is even easier, right? Even in the early stage, we pick up, because someone doesn't become diabetic in 1 month or 1 year. It is a long horizon. And when we capture, when they get into the platform as a pre-diabetic, without medicine we treat, because member who's been diagnosed with diabetes for the first time, even with high HbA1c, if they had never taken medicine, we are able to treat them without medicine, completely with precision nutrition and precision activities and precision sleep. Pre-diabetic, yes, it is easier.
Does the platform also help for betterment of mental health for patients like depression due to diabetes, etc.?
We had a case. We had a couple of cases. Say one woman, mid-30s, did not have kid for a long, and she went on to depression, and she was on insulin, and she joined us for reversal of diabetes. You will not believe, she reversed diabetes. She stopped her antidepressant tablet. She got conceived, and she has a baby now.
I just had a comment that, one of the important things about Twin, which I love about, is that they have a happiness signal. And, we are one of the, we perform very badly on happiness index in India. We love to give stress and take stress. So we have a very high pain threshold. And I think it's important that we be happy and we feel positive about it. Don't be negative. We can all conquer diabetes, but we need to be persistent. We need to be consistent, and we need to follow the guidelines, but do them with love and do them with happiness and positivity. Don't do them with negativity. And Twin allows you and enables you to eat what you like, but modifying it. So it allows you and empowers you. So you feel good about it. See, it's very important for every diabetic not to feel restricted, not to feel chained. It is important that they feel freedom from diabetes. They feel that they can get free from complications. Twin doesn't approach really that it's a cure. It's not a cure, but it's a control with simple lifestyle techniques using technology, because technology becomes like the reminder. It becomes like a watchman. It becomes like a regulator. It becomes like a security gatekeeper. And therefore, we are able to get those values. And the most important thing is to have a positive frame of mind. You smile, if you are cheerful, then automatically you will see, as Dr. Maluk said, people with depression, their whole lifestyle changed. Because people, when they feel sick and diseased, then they get into a negative cycle. And then it's like a vicious negative cycle. So I think Twin attempts to break that.
Yeah. There's a question by Dr. Jeshur Kumar. What should we do if patients who are alcohol dependent, who have diabetes? So what can be the mode of approach for patients who have diabetes and who are alcohol dependent?
So they should go to an alcohol rehab center and get themselves treated under expert supervision, because alcoholism needs Alcoholics Anonymous, and they should follow their 9 steps to get themselves first out of alcohol. And if they get out of those, if they can manage those 9 steps, they can manage diabetes very easily. So they can reverse both alcoholism and diabetes both. And after that, they can then Twin can help them to reverse diabetes, but they definitely need to do their 9 steps and Alcoholics Anonymous and get out of alcoholism first, period.
Yeah, so I think our last question for the day, what is the role of complementary medicines in reversal of diabetes?
So you see, in prevention of diabetes, we have a lot of rich heritage from India, from China, from Egypt, all over the world. Every tree and bark and plant which has been produced on planet Earth will have some link. In India, of course, there are popular things like anything which is bitter in the mouth, like bitter gourd, jamun, everything. Okay, will have a claim, or Siddha medicine, or homeopathic. They all have their own challenges. So maybe for short term it may be impactful, but we don't know its long term safety. We need to put it in the research mode, just like we are putting Twin in the research mode. See, Twin is a non-ingredient based mechanism. Similarly, many of these alternative and complementary medicines need to go through the scrutiny of the modern evidence base and generate some RCT based science to show that whether it is useful or not useful. It may be effective, but not necessarily safe. And therefore, we are not at all against it, but we need to ensure that we partner it well so that we are able to help our patients. As far as pre-diabetes is concerned, there might be a role. As far as early diabetes is concerned, I'm not so sure, because we need to generate robust evidence, but best evidence is available for lifestyle. And I think lifestyle is something which is very unique. Then the medication, what you use is separate. So for example, none of these alternative medicines have a head-to-head trial with, say, a metformin, which is a very simple off-patent drug. And if they are able to document head-to-head in a RCT fashion that they are conquering beyond metformin, then it is great.
Yeah. So we come to the end of the session. Thanks, Dr. Joshi and Dr. Maluk, for your time. And we have more than 1,000 plus delegates who have joined across India. I think we have more questions coming up. So in the interest of time, in case if there are questions more coming up, you can just email me. I'm Dr. Raju. I'm the Director for Medical Partnerships, and my number and my email ID is in the chat. So please feel free to contact for more information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Joshi. Thank you, Dr. Raju.
Thank you, Dr. Maluk.
Thank you, doctors. Yeah. Thank you very much for the wonderful session, and have a great evening ahead.
Thank you.